Chapter 2211. Fang Yuan becomes venerable. Rumble. Fang Yuan's killer move shot out, forcing star constellation Immortal Venerable and giant sun Immortal Venerable to retreat. What in the world is going on? Since when did Fang Yuan become a venerable? Lu Weiyin and Xin Shang watched as Fang Yuan fought the two venerables. They had complex emotions and asked Qi Si Ancestor urgently. Qi Si Ancestor was also confused. He smiled bitterly. I had no clue either. Lu Weiyin and Xin Shang were speechless. Fang Yuan had hid this so deeply that he even deceived his own clone. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable remained silent, because they found that Fang Yuan's strength had vaguely surpassed either of them. He was still a rank 8 pseudo-venerable earlier. How did he turn into a genuine rank 9 so suddenly? The two venerables were very confused and suspicious. Strange, very strange. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable attacked fiercely. Golden light rained down with imposing might. Fang Yuan responded with a shout. His prepared method was activated, forcefully suppressing the overwhelming golden light. The Tao marks on his body far surpassed Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. Seeing this, Lu Weiyin and the rest felt their hearts jumping. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable took in a deep breath of cold air secretly. He focused his eyes and activated a method. The next moment, his vision changed. He started to observe the luck above Fang Yuan's head. Initially, Fang Yuan's luck was completely hidden. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable could only see cooking luck pot. But soon, after Giant Sun Immortal Venerable intensified the force of this move, and golden blood flowed out of his eyes, he finally got through cooking luck pot's defense and saw Fang Yuan's true luck. He saw a silver pillar of light that connected heaven and earth. It was grand and condensed. At the base of the silvery pillar, there was a brown grave. It had mostly dissipated now. Only a small part was left. Seeing this, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had a thought. He sighed to himself. This is Paradise Earth's luck, on one hand. It can stabilize the foundation of the silver light pillar, but on the other hand, it is also digging away and replacing Fang Yuan's foundation. It was the biggest threat to Fang Yuan's luck initially. Now that he killed Paradise Earth, this threat has been removed. This remaining part of the grave is the foundation of Paradise Earth that Fang Yuan has yet to devour completely. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable raised his head again, looking at the top of the silver light pillar. Earlier when they joined forces, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had observed Fang Yuan's luck. Compared to then, Fang Yuan's silver light pillar was no longer blocked by 3 clouds at the top that it shot right through them, truly looking like it was holding up the heavens and supporting the earth. The 3 clouds could only revolve around the top part of the silver pillar. This meant that the 3 venerables could no longer hold Fang Yuan down. Among the 3 clouds, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's cloud had turned into a golden blood-colored cloud. It was at the top. Star Constellation Immortal Venerables and Spectral Soul Demon Venerables clouds were below his. They seemed to have the trend of tearing apart. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was moved again. Is this hinting that Spectral Soul Demon Venerable is quickly breaking free from Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's control? Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was not surprised. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable was someone on the same level as Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. It was already an incredibly shocking achievement that she could control him. But it was unrealistic to try fully controlling a venerable. If Spectral Soul Demon Venerable escapes from Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's control later, what will happen? No matter what, in terms of luck alone, Fang Yuan has truly become a venerable. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable believed in his own luck path methods. He was finally convinced at this moment. This time, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable looked towards Fang Yuan with some rage in his eyes. How did Fang Yuan become a venerable in the blink of an eye? Looking at his expression and attitude, it seemed like he held indifference towards rank 9 cultivation level. What did he take this venerable status as? If rank 9 venerables could appear so easily, then what would Giant Sun Immortal Venerable amount to? What would the past venerables amount to? Star Constellation Immortal Venerable was also considering rapidly. Fang Yuan has rank 9 cultivation level indeed. I underestimated his craftiness and shrewdness. When did he become a venerable? Did he have this cultivation level from the start? All the signs do not point to that possibility. He had secretly become a venerable during a certain moment in the crazed demon cave battle. But he clearly lacked attainment level. In the contest in primordial domain, star constellation Immortal Venerable and giant sun Immortal Venerable ganged up on Fang Yuan and destroyed the refinement path portion of the primordial domain. Wait. Giant sun Immortal Venerable suddenly turned his head, retreating as he looked at Fang Yuan, asking, "Did the thieving heaven true inheritance contain refinement path true meaning? So you had the necessary refinement path attainment level long ago." Fang Yuan smiled, but his attacks became even fiercer. Giant sun Immortal Venerable was sent flying by consecutive attacks. Using this timing, star constellation Immortal Venerable shot out countless flying stars that flew like lightning, landing on Fang Yuan's back one after another. Fang Yuan staggered from the hit. He almost lost his balance and fell forward, but immediately after, he straightened his back and wiped it with his hand. Starlight specks were shining intensely on his back. They were the Tao marks left behind by the flying stars. But after Fang Yuan wiped them, all of these Tao marks were refined into his own. The power of rank 9 refinement path. Star constellation Immortal Venerable's heart jumped. It was terrible to her that Fang Yuan had such a method. Star constellation Immortal Venerable's combat system did not excel in powerful individual offensive methods. She mainly relied on consecutive hits. And the key to these consecutive hits were the Tao marks that the flying stars left behind. With these Tao marks, the following flying stars would be able to deal increasingly greater damage to the enemy. But Fang Yuan refined these Tao marks into his own. The flying star consecutive move was easily broken if star constellation Immortal Venerable continued to use this move. She would not be fighting Fang Yuan, but funding him instead. Fang Yuan easily got rid of the flying star consecutive move and launched his own counterattack. Star constellation Immortal Venerable could not deal with him head-on. She had to temporarily retreat. He is very proficient with this refinement path killer move. It shows that Fang Yuan came prepared. But he held back the entire time, waiting for the final moment of this crazed demon cave fight, and after he became rank 9 to utilize this trump card. At this moment, star constellation Immortal Venerable finally understood the true extent of Fang Yuan's craftiness. The killer move was prepared long ago. Otherwise, it could not be used so quickly after Fang Yuan became rank 9. If he used it earlier, the effect would be great too, but he refused to activate it, causing star constellation Immortal Venerable to assume that he was helpless against the flying star killer move. The final battle, he used it and caught star constellation Immortal Venerable off guard immediately. Star constellation Immortal Venerable suddenly had a flash of inspiration. She realized a portion of the truth at this moment as she spoke. Fang Yuan, well done. You purposely did that during the primordial domain contest. You purposely held back and gave up on competing for primordial domain. Thus Giant Sun and I destroyed the refinement path part of the primordial domain. You were purposely pretending to be weak so that we would look down on and put less attention on you. Hearing these words, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's heart lit up. He could not help but feel more anger towards Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan remained smiling as he said plainly, "Star Constellation, you are thinking too highly of me." Star Constellation Immortal Venerable smiled coldly. "Fang Yuan, don't think of deceiving us anymore. Regardless of whether thieving heaven's true inheritance had refinement path true meaning, before you entered primordial domain, you were already extremely close to Supreme Grandmaster attainment level. After entering primordial domain, you realized that even if you gave up a portion of the refinement path primordial domain, you could still become a refinement path Supreme Grandmaster by yourself. Thus, you purposely held back and let Giant Sun and I seemingly ruin your chances of becoming a venerable. There were many benefits in this. Firstly, becoming a venerable would mean breaking through the heavenly Tao blockade. You would need to undergo tribulation and it carries many risks. You have to find the right timing to do so. Once you become a Supreme Grandmaster openly, we would be on guard against you. Secondly, even if you became a venerable quickly, before the 3 worlds united, limitless eternal life result was still far away from us. Everyone needed to wait. Furthermore, because of limitless retaliation, even if you became a venerable, you could not use your strength. Thirdly, if you were not a venerable, we would subconsciously ignore you. In our minds, even if Paradise Earth was just a pseudo-venerable, he was still more threatening than you. Finally, everyone was holding back during the crazed demon cave battle. A lot of trump cards were not revealed. For example, you did not know how much I had infiltrated the crazed demon formation. Thus, you concealed your methods and waited for the situation to become clearer after we went through our methods, before trying to claim victory. While defending against Fang Yuan's attacks, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable analyzed and exposed Fang Yuan's schemes to everyone, be they Giant Sun Immortal Venerable or Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. They did not want a third venerable contesting with them. Paradise Earth was the best example. He was trying to become a venerable under the attention of the two venerables. In the end, he got heavily injured because of them. As Giant Sun Immortal Venerable listened to Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's explanation, his mind became increasingly clear. With a loud howling sound, he stepped on a giant golden aurora and charged at Fang Yuan at the same time. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable also pincer attacked Fang Yuan from another direction. Chapter 22:12. Refine Gu, Refine Human, and Refine Heaven. Seeing the fierce attacks of the enemies, Fang Yuan quickly dodged for the time being. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable pursued relentlessly as he shouted. Back then, when I fought my way into the door of life and death, I wanted to probe Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's trump card and learn of Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's current condition. But you also went inside. It was truly a great scheme. If you remained in the outside world, you would need to deal with Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, who went out. But if you followed me, you would be able to see the strength of Heavenly Court and my longevity heaven. At that time, because of Heavenly Court's arrangements, the door of life and death was tightly connected to the immortal graveyard. It could not be destroyed forcefully in a short period of time. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable secretly inspected their lucks. After learning of this peculiar change in Star Constellation Immortal Venerables and Spectral Soul Demon Venerables' lucks, he wanted to find out the reason. If possible, he wanted to ruin this intimate relationship between them. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable knew that Star Constellation Immortal Venerable had hidden cards too, but he went inside the door of life and death regardless, because he had his own trump cards. When he used the blood path method to revive, no matter how severe his injuries got, he would be fully healed. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had been trying to make the best use of this trump card. He tried all ways possible to probe more of Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's methods. From Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's perspective, this was the first time he was fighting against a venerable. Venerables had immense foundation. He needed to probe carefully to destroy the immortal graveyard. He had to target the door of life and death. By going inside, he could inspect if there was really a relationship between Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. If possible, he would destroy that connection and save Spectral Soul Demon Venerable before working together. Or if possible, he could even try to take the door of life and death for himself. With all these intentions, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable managed to find out Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's method involving emotions on this trip. When Star Constellation Immortal Venerable left the door of life and death, did Giant Sun Immortal Venerable really not have any way of stopping her? That was not the case. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was happy to see Star Constellation Immortal Venerable leave. Firstly, the eternal life results still needed some time to nurture. He had already left behind his investigative method in the crazed demon formation. That was Lux Suppression Heavenly Palace. Secondly, 3 parties were contesting in crazed demon cave then. Other than Green Lotus Great World's Heavenly Court and Savage Wilderness Great World's Longevity Heaven, there was also Yellow Earth Great World's Paradise Earth.I. In the end, through this contest, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable forced Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable to revive prematurely, causing him to only have pseudo-venerable cultivation level. When Paradise Earth went into the door of life and death, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable did not use his biggest trump card before leaving. Even though he did not save Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, he managed to ally with Paradise Earth. Boom! As Fang Yuan retaliated, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's killer move was broken. He was forced back again. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable yelled, "Fang Yuan, I am sure you wanted to see Paradise Earth's premature resurrection as well. Such great acting, truly great acting skills. After leaving the door of life and death, I was hit by Qin Ding Ling's method and fell into a disadvantage. I needed you to take action, but you were trapped by star constellation Immortal Venerable. That was your intentional excuse. You purposely made the Qi-Si clone activate Hu elevation. That way, the Qi-Si clone would be restrained again, while Zhanbu Du was unable to get away. You managed to watch openly as our two sides fought and expended each other's strength. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable said while gritting his teeth. Back then, he still had an immortal zombie body. He was suppressed by star constellation Immortal Venerable and schemed against by thieving Heaven Demon Venerable. His combat system's foundation was uprooted. Even though the situation was dangerous, Giant Sun was not flustered. Because he still had the greatest trump card unused, Giant Sun held back and waited because he wanted to see the trump cards of these other people die in the end. Paradise Earth made his move. Paradise Earth did not attack star constellation Immortal Venerable. Instead, he tried to help Giant Sun. After failing, he immediately saved Fang Yuan. This showed that Paradise Earth's intentions were not simple either. However, after Fang Yuan was saved, he still refused to help out Giant Sun. Instead, he went to kill the unimportant Qin Ding Ling this way. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had no choice but to use his Blood Path trump card, reviving completely. Fang Yuan succeeded in killing Qin Ding Ling, but how could he deceive Giant Sun Immortal Venerable with such superficial actions? Giant Sun was very clear of it in his heart. Since he exposed his true strength, he immediately changed his position and joined up with Star Constellation Immortal Venerable to deal with Fang Yuan. Because of this, Fang Yuan was attacked by two Venerables. He had to expend Reverse Flow River, but still got hit in the end. His immortal aperture suffered calamities and tribulations. Wait. Thinking of this, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable realized and called out. During that time, you used the opportunity of your immortal aperture getting hit to obscure the aura and used the chance to break through the heavenly Tao blockade. By stacking tribulation with tribulation, you deceived everyone and got past the final tribulation, becoming a venerable. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable finally understood everything. Back then, he thought that he had succeeded when he inspected Fang Yuan's falling luck and the aura of calamities and tribulations in his aperture. But to think that Fang Yuan was making use of this to secretly tackle the heavenly Tao blockade and break through an even stronger tribulation. With just Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's method, he could definitely not create black fire in Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal aperture. The black fire was the remnant product of the chaotic disaster. Fang Yuan did not speak. He attacked fiercely. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable resisted with difficulty. He stared at Fang Yuan and continued to speak. Through that method, you became a venerable without anyone noticing. I originally thought that you were not skilled in aura concealment methods, but to think that your attainment in this aspect is shocking. You have been concealing your aura the entire time. You actually deceived me, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, and wait, even Paradise Earth was deceived. Fang Yuan was the greatest liar. He lied until the very end. All of these venerables were toyed around by him. Lu Weiyin and Shen Shang looked at each other, feeling the shock in each other's hearts. The fight between the venerables was getting more intense. They started using their full strength, causing the rest to be pushed away to the boundaries of the void, along with the Qi-Si clone. Looking at Fang Yuan, who was holding the upper hand, Lu Weiyin and Shen Shang had complex emotions. On one hand, they were shocked and in admiration that Fang Yuan broke through successfully to become a venerable. He was even suppressing two noble existences who were famous in history. But on the other hand, Lu Weiyin and Shen Shang were furious. They had a close connection to Paradise Earth, while a large part of his death was attributed to Fang Yuan's scheme. In the end, Paradise Earth had no choice but to expose his great secret. He could absorb truthful floating ice to raise his cultivation level. Fang Yuan purposely made a transaction with Paradise Earth and shouted so loudly, triggering the two venerables to use their full strength on him. In the end, the attacks of the two venerables helped out Fang Yuan. He managed to kill Paradise Earth. Crafty, scheming, evil, such words revolved around the hearts of Lu Weiyin and Shen Shang. They could not help but describe Fang Yuan as such. Rumble. As the golden light faded and starlight dimmed, Fang Yuan was incredibly domineering. His aura was surging like a rising tiger over 10,000 Li star constellation. Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable were feeling bitter internally. After so long, they had already expended many of their trump cards in combat. Their injuries were still lingering. There was simply no time to heal them. In contrast, Fang Yuan had been staying low profile and hiding his strength. His schemes were simply too deep. Boom. The three venerables clashed again. Fang Yuan held the upper hand once more. The two venerables were forced back. They spat out blood together, their injuries becoming more severe. Fang Yuan wore a snow-white robe. His hair was long and fluttering. He dominated the battlefield, with his aura surmounting mountains and rivers. He firmly grasped the upper hand as he suddenly recited, "In my youth, I knew the hardships of the world, yet I still aspired to soar above the clouds, a journey of cold winds and uncertainty. A lone traveler experiences a life of ups and downs, a heart of steel forged from countless setbacks, a lifetime of effort to forge one's sword. Today my sword aims beyond the clouds. Refine Gu. Refine human. Refine heaven." Fang Yuan's attacks were like a surging tide, enveloping all the surrounding battlefield, approaching from all directions of the world. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable could not resist them. They retreated time and time again. Fang Yuan grabbed with his hand. The final truthful floating ice went towards him. "Don't think about it." Star Constellation Immortal Venerable snorted coldly. She had to toss out the door of life and death at the final crucial moment. The door of life and death erupted with an immense suction force, while Giant Sun Immortal Venerable attacked at the same time. His killer move landing on Fang Yuan in order to take the truthful floating ice. Fang Yuan exposed a weakness and was sent into the door of life and death by the two venerables. Our tactic succeeded. The two venerables looked at each other, having expressions of joy flashing at the same time. But at the next moment, Dang Hun Mountain, Luo Pa Valley, and Reverse Flow River, a killer move with all three secluded domains of heaven and earth as the cores was activated by Fang Yuan. A road of life was suddenly formed, extending out of the door of life and death. Fang Yuan instantly returned to the battlefield, leaving Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, who was extremely furious and agitated behind in the door of life and death. The two venerables stared with wide eyes. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's eyelids were twitching intensely. This was the move that he wanted Fang Yuan to conceptualize when he was trapped in the door of life and death. Fang Yuan kept delaying it and showed an expression of helplessness, eventually failing in his deduction. But now, seeing that Fang Yuan was using it so proficiently, it was clear that he had already practiced it many times. Before the battle in Crazed Demon Cave, Fang Yuan already had this killer move, but he still used Dang Hun Luo Pasil to make an excuse for Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and the rest. Seeing that the door of life and death could not trap Fang Yuan, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable let out a soft sigh. The next moment, the door of life and death opened. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable flew out immediately. He was still in an agitated state. His mind was not clear. He did not attack Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, but furiously targeted Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Fang Yuan. Using this chance, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable wanted to snatch the truthful floating ice. The scene became very chaotic. Immortal Killer Move, Dang Hun Luo Pasil. With one attack by Fang Yuan, 1,000 of Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's arms severed after Fang Yuan became venerable and passed the Black Fire Tribulation. His Dao marks had already exceeded Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. Fang Yuan roared and made a push, eventually taking that final truthful floating ice for himself. Star Constellation, I've already done my best. From within Spectral Soul's belly, Verdant Great Sun's voice could be heard sighing. Next, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's expression changed, becoming blank. His roaring and emotions of hatred vanished. He ignored Fang Yuan and Giant Sun as he charged towards the hole expressionlessly. Bam! With a loud sound, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable had actually used his own body to block the hole of the world boundary. The immortals were shocked. the entire scene became silent again. Chapter 22:13. Chu-Du versus He Lulan. This was a nameless grassland. The ground was dry and desolate. There was barely any vegetation except yellowish wilting wild grass. The sky was gray and hazy. No sunlight could be seen. A cold and dark wind blew on the faces of the immortals that could see this ordinary location. Tens of Gu immortals were gathered. All of their attention was placed on two people. The male immortal wore a yellowish-brown leather robe unique to northern plains. He had a red and thick leather belt, as well as pitch-black leather shoes. The loose robe could not conceal his muscular body. While his face was nothing extraordinary, he looked very plain. But nobody present could ignore him despite that, because his name was Chu-Du, the domination immortal, and opposing him, there was a female immortal. The female immortal wore a half-mask covering her nose, mouth, and cheeks, only revealing the upper half of her face, which showed her strong contours, sharp and long brows, bright eyes, and a bold aura. She was Fairy Black Moon, a powerful expert who challenged countless people and had never suffered a loss since her rise in Northern Plains Gu immortal world. As for her true identity as He Lulan, few Gu immortals knew. Not long ago, He Lulan defeated one of the most prominent members of Lu tribe, rank 7 Gu immortal expert Lu Chang. She challenged Chu-Du thereafter. Chu-Du did not back down. He directly agreed. Once news of this battle was spread, the tension of Northern Plains Gu immortals rose. They paid huge attention to it. Right now, the time for the two immortals' fight had arrived. Chu-Du, you have finally arrived. Battle intent surged in He Lulan's eyes, blazing like flames. The contest of strength path. I have been looking forward to this. Chu-Du replied happily. Regardless of the outcome today, Fairy, I would like to invite you to my Chu tribe as a guest. We can exchange our experiences in cultivating strength path. He Lulan snorted coldly. Chu-Du, I've heard of your great name since long ago. But if you want to exchange pointers, we will have to see if you are qualified. Chu-Du smiled. Please have the first move. He Lulan did not stand on ceremony. Her body flew out like lightning, rising up and flying towards the upper clouds. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Waves of human figures descended from the clouds, crashing towards Chu-Du like meteors. Chu-Du raised his head and immediately retreated upon seeing this. He was very fast. After pulling some distance, he used his killer move as he pushed with both palms. Boom! A surge of great strength burst out. Air currents were generated. He Lulan's strength path. Phantoms shattered like bursting bubbles against this powerful attack. Chu-Du pushed with his palms again, clearing out the dark clouds in the sky, exposing the clear skies and radiant sunlight. He Lulan, who had hidden herself in the cloud layer, was also exposed as a result. He Lulan had a serious expression. After the concealment of the dark clouds, her killer move was already prepared to the next moment. Her hands clenched into fists, raising them above her head before slamming them down towards Chu-Du's direction. With a thunderous sound, air was squeezed and distorted as the fist shadows instantly arrived in front of Chu-Du. Chu-Du raised both arms, blocking the attack. Bam! There was a loud collision as he was forced back by 100 steps. But soon, he stopped in the air, shrugging his shoulders. A layer of dust fell from his sleeves. He was completely unharmed. He Lulan was not surprised at all. She continued to rain down a flurry of unceasing attacks. Chu-Du blocked her attacks time and time again while retaliating in response. Both sides were separated by some distance. They attacked with long-ranged methods that caused incredible commotions. The observing immortals were all staring at the two of them with fixed gazes. So exciting to think that Strength Path Gu immortals would have so many outstanding long-ranged methods. Currently, it seems that Fairy Black Moon and Chu-Du are evenly matched. Humph, now is too early to make that conclusion. Cho Lao Wu snorted coldly. Strength Path Gu immortals are strongest at close combat. They are still using long-ranged methods to probe each other now. Chu-Du was firm as a mountain while He Lulan displayed many outstanding long-ranged methods. After more than 10 rounds of combat, the two sides suddenly charged and clashed in the center. With that loud sound, all of the immortals jolted. They are fighting seriously now. This is an extremely rare contest of strength path. Whoever wins this will be the #1 strength path cultivator in the current world. In the current 5 regions, there were very few strength path Gu immortals. After all, strength path had been declining for a long time, far beyond half a century worth of degradation. Before He Lulan appeared, Chu Du was publicly recognized as a strength path expert in the 5 regions. He had quite the reputation. With the sudden appearance of He Lulan, most Gu immortals were shocked by her path. To think that another anomaly would arise in strength path. Under everyone's gaze, the two continued to rain down punches and kicks at each other. It was an intense fight. Attacks and defenses were unleashed and put up continually. Each move had an incredible amount of strength in them. Be either Chu Du or He Lulan. Neither had the intention to retreat. They fought strength with strength, ferocity with ferocity. The battle between strength path Gu immortals could be said to be plain and simple. It was not as glamorous as other paths, but in the hearts of many Gu immortals present, a chill started to form. Even though strength path is declining, strength path Gu immortals are not to be underestimated. If I had to fight against either Chu Du or Fairy Black Moon, the outcome would be disastrous. Each attack by Chu Du or He Lulan would cause a thunderous sound that twisted and distorted the air. Air currents surged as wind continued to form from their impacts. Compared to long-ranged methods, strength path excelled more at close combat. That a Gu immortal with superb cultivation in strength path would be threatening in their every punch and kick. Their advantage in close combat was regarding the aspect of attack frequency. He Lulan and Chu Du fought quicker and quicker, the observing Gu immortals tried to imagine themselves as either party and felt cold sweat pouring down their foreheads. In the future, if I meet any strength path Gu immortal, I must not let them get close to me. The punches and kicks are unleashed too frequently. There is no time to prepare killer moves in such a fight. Without killer moves, how can anyone defend against such intense attacks? More than 10 rounds passed again. Chu Du gradually gained the upper hand. Even though He Lulan was strong and had many methods, her combat experience still paled in comparison to Chu Du. Her cultivation time was far less than Chu Du. Chu Du accumulated his advantage through his immensely rich combat experience. After adding up all these advantages, he started to suppress He Lulan. Chen Cheng, In Wu Ke, and the rest had grim expressions. This cannot go on. I need to take a risk. He Lulan's gaze turned sharp as a blade, flashing for an instant. She knew that if she did not change her fighting style now, if this went on, she would definitely lose the next moment. He Lulan shouted loudly as she rained punches and kicks on Chu Du with rapid intensity. Chu Du was like a reef by the sea. No matter how intense the waves were, he remained motionless. He Lulan was not surprised. While Chu Du defended himself, she quickly moved back and started preparing her killer move. Chu Du smiled as he quickly approached her. Oh no. Chen Cheng saw this and gasped aloud. The observing Gu immortals saw this and knew that Chu Du had waited for this opportunity for some time. Chu Du erupted with shocking speed, rapidly getting closer to He Lulan. He Lulan had no choice but to helplessly stop her killer move activation. She fought against Chu Du with punches and kicks, blocking the other party's unceasing attacks. But because of this, by stopping her killer move midway, the activation failure caused a backlash that caused severe internal injuries to He Lulan. Chu Du created a battle opportunity. He made great use of it and fought against He Lulan until she could only defend herself. Chu Du had the complete advantage now. A wave of cheers erupted. These voices came from Chu Du's godchildren as well as the supreme elders of Chu tribe. Humph, don't rejoice too early. Fairy Black Moon has not used her trump card yet. He Lulan's supporters had grim expressions. They rebuked. Totem killer move. Dark capital strength Biao. 1. At the next moment, He Lulan's body shook that a tiger roared. Its huge black claws sent Chu Du flying. The giant black tiger flapped its wings and vanished on the spot. Appearing behind Chu Du quickly defended himself. Even though he blocked the dark capital strength Biao's attack again, his body was still sent flying like a cannonball, crashing towards the ground from the force created. It's here. Fairy Black Moon's signature method, dark capital strength Biao. Someone shouted in excitement. Cho Lao Wu had a cold expression. This was the first time he saw it. This totem killer move is too convenient. It can stay dormant on the skin during normal times and be activated with a single thought when needed. Indeed, Hao Zhen gritted his teeth. If not for this move, our first Supreme Elder would have obtained victory already. One Tiger with Wings. Chapter 22:14. You have won this battle. The dark capital strength Biao was incredibly fast. It was hard to deal with in the first place. More importantly, after He Lulan stabilized her position, she quickly used a healing method on herself before joining the fight again. She had great coordination with the dark capital strength Biao. They attacked from the left and right, firmly suppressing Chu Du. Chu Du was in a pitiful state. Many areas of his robe were torn, showing that his defenses were no longer holding up. Blood soon appeared. On his lips, his injuries were slowly accumulating. Chu tribe's Gu immortals had grim expression. In the current situation, they could not see hope of Chu Du turning this around. The dark capital strength Biao gave He Lulan too great of an advantage. You will lose. He Lulan shouted with momentum, unleashing her killer move, 8-directional strength fight. Chu Du was surrounded by countless figures. He could not break out for the time being. Suddenly, a shadow casted down from above him. It was the dark capital strength Biao. It opened its mouth to bite at Chu Du. If this bite connected, Chu Du would be heavily injured, if not dead at the moment of crisis. Chu Du laughed loudly instead. Finally caught you. At the next moment, Strength Path giant hand appeared and grabbed forcefully. The dark capital strength Biao was caught unguarded and growled loudly. It wanted to struggle, but after only one breath of time, the Strength Path giant hand firmly held onto it and slammed it to the ground. Boom! There was a loud sound as the ground shook. Rocks were sent flying and dust clouds rose. Immortal killer move, battle strength transpiration. Chu Du suddenly erupted with an intense aura as his body expanded to the size of a 10-meter giant. His entire body turned red. All of the pores on his body opened up as his sweat turned into steam surrounding his body. Immortal killer move, heaven and earth combined strength. Chu Du straightened both arms before clapping them together in front of his chest. The next moment, the immortals gasped. He Lulan's expression changed. The surrounding 1,000 li were enveloped by a formless force. The Gu immortals were restrained and unable to move easily. They felt like bugs that had fallen into oil. Affected by this killer move, the speed of the dark capital strength Biao fell drastically. Its threat towards Chu Du also plunged to rock bottom. This is a quasi-battlefield killer move. He Lulan gritted her teeth. Chu Du's move was amazing and beyond her expectations. I did not want to use this. He Lulan snorted internally, activating the expend strength immortal Gu in her immortal aperture. This rank 7 immortal Gu was lent to her by longevity heaven secretly. Other than that, there was also a killer move that used expend strength immortal Gu as the core. It was called 70% expended strength. The crucial moment. He Lulan immediately activated this move. This move's preparation had no aura and was stealthy. Only when it was used, it unleashed an overwhelmingly extraordinary burst of aura. Chu Du quickly tried to dodge, but he did not succeed. After getting hit by this move, every action or killer move of his took much more effort to complete, by at least more than 50%. While Chu Du's condition fell, He Lulan unleashed a flurry of attacks again. The battle was in a heated stage. Both sides were stuck in a deadlock. The observing immortals retreated at once. They left the range of heaven and earth combined strength, becoming more at ease as they continued to watch the battle. Regardless of this battle's result, these two are peak characters among Northern Plains ranked 7 experts. Such terrifying battle strength. I'm afraid they might be able to challenge rank 8 Gu immortals as well. Chu Du, Black Moon. They are the support pillars of strength path in the current world, undoubtedly. The Gu immortals sighed to themselves. At this point in the battle, be they Chu Du or He Lulan, they had earned the respect and recognition of everyone. Such evenly matched opponents made the immortals even more excited to see the eventual winner. Awesome. This is really great. Chu Du had many bone fractures and his robe was dyed red, but he laughed heartily and expressed his excitement towards this battle. He Lulan gritted her teeth and did not speak. She had gotten into a disadvantage once again. The reason was still the difference in combat experience. Chu-Du was superior to He Lu-Lan in every tiny detail. As they accumulated, they eventually affected the entire battle. He Lu-Lan tried all ways to regain her footing, but the more she fought, the more tiny weaknesses she exposed, giving Chu-Du even more opportunities to take advantage of. He was clearly hit by my 70% expended strength. How can he still have such stamina? Seeing that Chu-Du was not getting tired, He Lu-Lan could not help but feel a bit shocked. Chu-Du had outstanding strength. Even though He Lu-Lan was using her full strength, she could not take down Chu-Du currently. She could only hope that the effect of 70% expended strength would tire Chu-Du out, but another 10 or so rounds passed before Chu-Du even got tired. He Lu-Lan was already completely at a disadvantage. The situation was dangerous. He Lu-Lan gritted her teeth. Secretly, she was not willing to fail. In this situation, she could only take a risk and T-R-Y-A-T the next moment. The dark capital strength Biao growled and jumped towards He Lu-Lan. He Lu-Lan advanced instead of moving aside, entering the dark capital strength Biao's body in midair. With a flash of dark light, the dark capital strength Biao shrank in size, turning into a half-beast, half-man form. It became a layer of armor on He Lu-Lan's body. It seemed like smoke or an illusion. This was a higher-level use of a totem killer. Move. When the Gu Immortal combined with the totem, their battle strength would surge immensely. Chu-Du, time to go down. He Lu-Lan shouted. The Biao wings flapped. She instantly arrived before Chu-Du. Chu-Du raised his arms. He Lu-Lan's iron fists landed on his arms. The huge force erupted like resounding thunder. The surrounding air was forced aside as Chu-Du flew out uncontrollably towards the ground. But Chu-Du landed with both feet on the ground, creating a huge and long trench behind him. While he was still retreating, He Lu-Lan suddenly appeared above him. Boom! There was another attack as He Lu-Lan sent Chu-Du flying to the ground again. Bam, bam, bam. He Lu-Lan floated in the air, raining down fist shadows incessantly. The ground shook as smoke appeared. Her terrifying strength caused the spectators to turn pale. Lord Chu-Du, Godfather, Chu Tribe's Gu Immortals shouted loudly in worry. He Lu-Lan was too powerful now. She was almost dominating the scene. Chu-Du had no way of retaliating. Enough. Stop now, Black Moon. From the pit, Chu-Du's voice could be heard as he spoke with difficulty. But He Lu-Lan did not listen to him. She continued to punch endlessly. Is Chu-Du admitting defeat? Wu Guang was excited as he spoke. Something is not right. Master seems to be in a weird state. Chen Cheng's expression changed. Hearing this, everyone realized that He Lu-Lan's gaze was like a wild beast. She seemed to have lost her reasoning. She could only control this killer move through her instincts to slaughter. Chu Tribe's Gu Immortals were all happy now. There is still hope. Great. As long as First Supreme Elder gets through this, he will win. This killer move is too powerful. If Fairy Black Moon's killer move activation fails, she might face a backlash and even lose her life. But right at this moment, a figure flew out. It was Chu-Du. But what Chu-Du did next was out of everyone's expectations. He had forcefully endured the rampaging attacks, disregarding his own life to approach He Lu-Lan and place his arm on her shoulder. A huge vibration force was emitted. He Lu-Lan and the dark capital strength Biao were separated. He Lu-Lan regained her senses, and her pupils shrank immediately. She was shocked to find out that her left fist had penetrated the right side of Chu-Du's chest. But Chu-Du used a method to save her and prevent her from suffering the immense backlash from her killer move. Why? At once, He Lu-Lan fell into deep confusion and disbelief. But right at this moment, the dark capital strength Biao's ferocity did not lower. It appeared behind Chu-Du and bit harshly. Stop! He Lu-Lan shouted internally and willed to try to stop the dark capital strength Biao. In this situation, if Chu-Du was hit by it, he would definitely die. But the dark capital strength Biao was not under He Lu-Lan's control. It was incredibly fierce. Right when He Lu-Lan thought Chu-Du was about to die, a surge of aura burst out of Chu-Du's body. His killer move was unleashed. The dark capital strength Biao was sent flying from one attack. The Immortals were shocked. Rank 8. Cultivation level. Chu-Du became a rank 8 Gu Immortal? Our first Supreme Elder is rank 8? When did he advance? He Lulan stared with wide eyes and looked fixedly at Chu Du. Why? While speaking, she retracted her left hand from Chu Du's chest and placed it on his shoulder. The killer move was activated by He Lulan. It was not an offensive killer move, but a healing method instead. Chu Du's expression was pale. He accepted her good intentions as he smiled. Ever since you started challenging people, I started noticing you, Fairy Black Moon. Do you know? Even if you did not challenge me, I would issue you a challenge as well. To have a fair battle. Because Strength Path has been silent for far too long. Your emergence made me really happy. Continue on this path, Black Moon. Revitalize Strength Path and let it shine gloriously again. Chu Du expressed his aspirations, looking at his dazzling eyes. He Lulan was silent. The dark capital Strength Biao had returned after being repelled by Chu Du, but now, He Lulan regained control of it. The dark capital Strength Biao was heavily damaged. It went back on a He Lulan skin. He Lulan looked at Chu Du deeply before leaving. Before departing, she said, Chu Du, you have won this battle. This battle that caused a commotion in Northern Plains Gu Immortal ended in Chu Du's victory. But the exact outcome of this fight was far beyond everyone's expectations. Once Chu Du displayed rank 8 cultivation level, he became a higher-up in the Gu Immortal world. Be they himself or Chu tribe, their reputation soared. And in that intense battle, Chu Du first sealed his own cultivation level to fight against Fairy Black Moon as a rank 7. He then disregarded his own life to save her. Such actions caused the neutral Gu Immortals to gain good feelings towards him. Even those who supported Fairy Black Moon like Yin Wu Kei, Chen Chang, and Wu Guang secretly felt admiration towards him. After returning to Chu tribe, his godchildren suggested to hold a celebratory banquet and invite the immortals to make use of this result and elevate Chu tribe's status. But Chu Du rejected it without second thought. He was very low profile regarding the result of this battle. However, news that he became a rank 8 Gu Immortal still caused a huge commotion in Northern Plains' current situation. Days later, Heavenly Court and Longevity Heaven let out even more surprising news that shook the world. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had revived successfully, while Guyu Fang Yuan had become a refinement path demon venerable. The world was in an uproar. All the immortals were shocked. Chapter 22:15 Heaven Refining Demon Venerable. Fang Yuan returned to Eastern Sea. Under the setting sun, the surface of the sea was dyed red. Birds were chirping out loud. A warm sea breeze was blowing. This place was some distance away from Eastern Sea Xia clan. It was not considered close. This place will do. Fang Yuan quickly descended, landing on a relatively small deserted island. Several investigative killer moves were activated. Fang Yuan had complete control over the island. He did not detect any threats or suspicious matters. Fang Yuan directly took out the 5 regional limit formation. Soon, 5 colored smoke mixed together and enveloped the island, before spreading towards the sky and see that if he were still rank 8. After escaping from Crazed Demon Cave, he would choose the headquarters of Eastern Sea Xia clan, or go to Immemorial White Heaven in secret and hide himself to recuperate. But Fang Yuan had rank 9 cultivation level now. He was a venerable. He could do things openly without fear that if Star Constellation Immortal Venerable or Giant Sun Immortal Venerable came to attack him now, Fang Yuan would be happy to see that happen. Fang Yuan slowly shut his eyes as his divine sense peered into the sovereign immortal aperture. He had already accumulated several beads of rank 9. Immortal Essence. Rank 8 Immortal Essence was known as White Lychee Immortal Essence. Rank 9 Immortal Essence was slightly larger and looked like an apricot. It was orange-yellow in colored. It was Yellow Apricot Immortal Essence. Fang Yuan was familiar with the appearance of rank 9 Immortal Essence since long ago, because he had obtained Giant Sun's Immortal Essence as well as Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's remaining Immortal Essence. But now, he felt some surging emotions. Internally, after all, this was his personal Yellow Apricot Immortal Essence. Using the Yellow Apricot Immortal Essence, Fang Yuan activated a method, Refinement Path Killer Move. Refined Self. A pale yellow light that was the size of a fist flowed out from the area near Fang Yuan's stomach. The yellow light flowed slowly around his entire body. The emphasis was on Fang Yuan's injuries. Fang Yuan had over 100 injuries. Most of them were only dealt with superficially while he was on the way back. Even now, many of the wounds were still bleeding and covered in golden light or starlight specks. They were lingering on his bones, or his mashed-up flesh as the pale yellow light appeared. All of the starlight and golden aurora was cleansed. This meant that the Tao marks that star constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable left on Fang Yuan's body were all refined by him. But the process of refinement was not comfortable, and intense pain could be felt. Fang Yuan's body was shivering, his expression turned pale. Soon, sweat covered his forehead. Eventually, the pale yellow light lingered on the area of Fang Yuan's detached arm. After an hour, the light faded away. Fang Yuan let out a breath of air. He finally relaxed. After resting for a moment, he immediately used a compound killer move. Man as before, the next moment, his injuries were fully healed. His arm was also fully restored. But when Fang Yuan exerted strength using that arm, he still felt a sense of weakness from it. But this was already satisfactory to him. Fang Yuan had severe injuries, but star constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable were also no bettered. He was almost certain that their efficiency at healing injuries was lower than him, because Fang Yuan had the killer move Refined Self. This killer move could refine all of the Tao marks on the Gu cultivator's body into their own. The origin of this move was the killer move that Fang Yuan once used, self-cleansing. Using this, in the Battle of Crazed Demon Cave, Fang Yuan refined all of the Tao marks of the Flying Star killer move, countering star constellation Immortal Venerable's consecutive move. His physical injuries were healed, while his soul was at its peak condition. Fang Yuan started to resolve the matter of the Sovereign Immortal Aperture. The Sovereign Immortal Aperture had a tribulation earlier because of Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's killer move. At almost the same time, because of Fang Yuan's secret manipulation, he challenged the heavenly Tao and endured the chaotic disaster. The entire Sovereign Immortal Aperture suffered huge losses. Its foundation had fallen. Compared to before the Crazed Demon Cave expedition, it had about 20% remaining. It was simply in tatters. This was a pitiful sight. But I predicted that this would happen before the battle in Crazed Demon Cave. I prepared for it. Fang Yuan focused his mind. Thoughts were expended. He activated another compound killer move. Landscape as before. The year essence pools and the subpools in various areas of the Sovereign Immortal Aperture all opened their dams now. The accumulated water of the River of Time formed into a vast silhouette under the effect of landscape as before, sweeping through the many 5 regions, as well as all the many 9 heavens. The silhouette of the water of the River of Time soon receded entirely. But what remained were various resource points of mountains and rivers that were completely restored. The Gu immortals in the Sovereign Immortal Aperture saw this sight and cheered loudly. Their morale surged. Fang Yuan lightly let out a breath of air. Back then, when he created the year essence subpools and created time path areas, he had already prepared to use landscape as before for such a purpose. After using this method, the water of the River of Time in the year essence pools was almost used up. The Sovereign Immortal Aperture's time difference with the outside world also fell greatly. A considerable amount of time was needed until the year essence pools could gather enough water of the River of Time to accelerate the Sovereign Immortal Aperture's time again. At this point, 40% of the Sovereign Immortal Aperture's foundation had just been restored, which meant that the Sovereign Immortal Aperture only had 40% in total of losses remaining. This greatly reduced the time, energy, and resources needed to reconstruct his foundation. The 40% of losses were created by the chaotic disaster. Even landscape as before was not useful for this. The Gu immortals that died from the chaotic disaster were also not able to revive through human seed. He had a lot of other losses as well. The immortal essence expenditure was huge. He once had a vast amount of rank 8 immortal essence, but now he had about 10% left. It was way below the safety margin. He was in a dangerous state. This was also why Fang Yuan stopped and did not continue fighting against star constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. But the good news was, as a Venerable, Fang Yuan produced yellow apricot immortal essence. It was much more useful than white lychee immortal essence. The bad news was, Rank 8 Immortal Gu Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus that once helped Fang Yuan greatly in terms of immortal essence storage became much less useful now at the same time, because the sovereign immortal aperture's time slowed greatly. Fang Yuan's immortal essence production speed was not high. During this period of time, Fang Yuan needed to rest and manage his immortal essence. He also had to refine the natural Tao marks of the outside world. He would need a lot of immortal essence. The lack of immortal essence is huge, while immortal essence stones are barely useful to me anymore. If I ignore everything and raise the sovereign immortal aperture's rate of time to the limit, that will not work either. Fang Yuan frowned slightly. Venerables faced a grand tribulation every 10 years, a myriad tribulation every 50 years, and a chaotic disaster every 100 years, unless they were Dream Path, Pill Path, and so on. Grand tribulations and myriad tribulations were no threat to Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan was only wary about the chaotic disasters every 100 years, even though he had already gone through one chaotic disaster in Crazed Demon Cave. That was only the Heavenly Tao blockade. It was far weaker than the chaotic disasters that would occur every 100 years. If the sovereign immortal aperture's time was too fast, Fang Yuan would quickly have to face the chaotic disaster. If he got heavily injured in the process, or even near the point of death, the other venerables would take advantage of the chance. The replenishment of immortal essence was a problem. Other than this, Fang Yuan also lost a large number of immortal Gu in the first parts of the Crazed Demon Cave fight. After Gu immortals died, Fang Yuan did not retrieve their immortal Gu or immortal apertures. In fact, the 7 immortal Gu houses that Fang Yuan took out in Crazed Demon Cave, including Rising Cloud City, were all lost as well. Fang Yuan's losses were so severe that no super force in the world, barring Heavenly Court and Longevity Heaven, could afford to endure them. Thankfully, in the later parts of the Crazed Demon Cave fight, Fang Yuan purposely reduced his losses in this aspect. For example, when Zhanbu Du died, the will that he left behind sent many of his precious transformation path immortal Gu into Treasure Yellow Heaven. Other than immortal Gu and immortal essence, many Gu immortals died as well. Steel Rush Warrior, Frost Butterfly Warrior, Xiao He Jian, Ice Crystal Immortal Monarch, and even Fang Yuan's clone Zhanbu Du. They had all died in Crazed Demon Cave. There were also those who died in the sovereign immortal aperture when they defended against the tribulations. Most of them were revived through human sea. They had to recultivate to become immortal again. There was also a group of them who could not be revived. Among them was the old combat beast king, a rank 8 Gu immortal. Even Fang Yuan felt that it was a pity. This old man had worked laboriously without complaint. He made great contributions towards the sovereign immortal aperture. But he was killed by the black fire. Fang Yuan could not revive him. Other than these material losses, Fang Yuan also had some hidden losses. Most importantly, he exposed too many killer moves in the Crazed Demon Cave battle. Fang Yuan had no choice but to expose many of his compound killer moves, as well as trump cards like Refined Self, Totem killer moves, and others, for a long time. These killer moves could not be used. They needed to be modified when he fights against the venerables in the future. If he were to use these killer moves without modification, Fang Yuan would be taking a huge risk, but compared to his losses, Fang Yuan's gains were much higher. In the Crazed Demon Cave battle, Fang Yuan had immense gains. He was undeniably the biggest winner out of everyone. Firstly, Fang Yuan ransacked the first 7 layers and obtained a vast amount of chaotic Tao Mark immortal materials, in the 8th layer of Crazed Demon Cave. He used Thieves' Den to gain a vast amount of rank 9 immortal materials. These rank 9 immortal materials were enough for him to try to refine a rank 9 immortal Gu. The second thing was Primordial Domain. Fang Yuan had about the same amount of the Primordial Domain as Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, which was slightly less than Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. Primordial Domain was extremely valuable, especially for Fang Yuan. The third thing was Paradise Earth's Northern Plains True Inheritance, as well as his Heaven Path cultivation experiences. These included the method to digest truthful floating ice and raise one's own Heaven Path cultivation level. The fourth was Information. After the Battle of Crazed Demon Cave, Fang Yuan gained an in-depth understanding of star constellation Immortal Venerable and giant sun Immortal Venerable, as well as the heavenly court and longevity heaven that they belonged to. He was no longer kept in the dark like before. Star constellation Immortal Venerables and giant sun Immortal Venerables methods. Their combat systems, as well as Heavenly Court's Door of Life and Death Immortal Graveyard, Transient White Cloud City Suppression Painting Path Formation, Wandan's Pill Path, Longevity Heaven's 8 Extremities Formation, Calamity Luck Altars Luck Changing Golden Light Path, and others. The fifth gain was also Fang Yuan's greatest gain. His cultivation level rose to become Venerable level. This was a peak qualitative change. From now onwards, he went from a chess piece to a player. He could openly plot against the world and rule over the 5 regions. The history of humanity and variant humans would have no choice but to remember his name. At this point, he stood on the same plane as the 10 predecessors. He was like a sun that shone throughout the ages. All other Gu immortals, regardless of their heroism or talent, were mere stars in the sky. Gu Fang Yuan, the 11th venerable of the Gu cultivator world. A demonic cultivator who became venerable through refinement path. According to Heavenly Court and Longevity Heaven, his title was Heaven Refining Demon Venerable.